Hello folks, back again. I am DJ here. Welcome to the channel. Always welcome, as you know. Please don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost you a cent, doesn't even cost you a rupee. It's totally free to subscribe, and it helps me to continue doing my research and bring you the stories from around the world. So let me get straight into this one, and it's from Australia, because the last one was about America, wasn't it? So this one's from Australia, but it involves a Canadian man, and you may have heard of him, Billboard Chris, also known as Christopher Alston. Okay, so according to Australian media professor Rob Cover, he testified that biologically accurate pronouns are anti-science. Yes, biologically accurate pronouns. So a boy baby is called he, and a girl baby is called she. They're anti-science, according to this man, Professor Rob Cover. So he's the Safety Commissioner in Wales, and he's a professor. His name is Rob Cover, as I've said, of the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, and he's a professor of digital communications. And he was called by the state as an expert witness in a case against Billboard Christopher Alston. Professor Rob Cover, he testified that he believes it is harmful, it is offensive, it is untruthful, it's rude and anti-science to use biologically accurate pronouns when referring to a person who identifies themselves as transgender. Now, this idea of transgender, many of them are just men dressed up as women or women dressed up as men. They've not changed anything about their bodies, and even if they did, which would be external, obviously it would be a mastectomy to remove breasts, or I don't know what it's called, to remove a penis and testicles, but it still doesn't change their brain makeup, their what do they call it, their actual body mass. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter. They still are male or female, whatever they were born as. But he thinks that's unscientific to say so. In fact, not unscientific, he says it's anti-scientific. He adds that using sex-based language adds a kind of anti-trans rhetoric, which is common kind of misinformation online and offline. How can it be misinformation? If a male is born a male, then he's a male. It isn't misinformation to say he's a male. But this is the idiots we've got in government and in these professorships, in this case in the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. Now, why a man who's the commissioner for the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology and a professor of digital communication thinks he has the right to talk about biology and claim anti-science if you talk about biology, that again shows him to be an absolute idiot, an imbecile. Okay, Mr. Cover considers his personal view to be informed by science and by the truth of the person who wishes to be identified in a way that is in accordance with their reality. So if a person wishes to be, I'm a cat, as some girls were found to be doing in school. Boys were saying they were stallions. One said he was a dinosaur. Is it fact? Would it be anti-biology? Would it be anti-nature to say, well, you're not a dinosaur, you're a little boy? Oh, that stopped me now, because I think how ridiculous. I mean, really, he believes the use of biological pronouns is harmful, offensive, untruthful, rude and anti-science. Now, he was the state witness against Chris Alston, and he's the Commissioner for Internet Safety, known as eSafety. But what was it that Chris Alston was dragged into the court for? Just what was his crime? Well, I will quote him exactly, and then you can judge for yourself his heinous crime. Here's that quote. It's damaging to teach children they were born in the wrong body. Children are beautiful. just as they are. No drugs or scalpels required. What naughty things to say, Chris. Wow. It's awful. It's frightening attack, but he wrote further. He went on further. So, I mean, let's see if he upset anyone in his next horrendous posting. In February 2024, Mr. Olsen, also known as Billboard Chris because he carries a billboard with his message on, he took to the United States social media platform X to share an article, and he added the comment to this comment that I'm going to quote here to that article. This woman, yes, she's female, is part of a panel of 20 experts hired by the WHO, World Health Authority, to draft their policy on caring for trans people. These people belong into the psychiatric wards, are writing the guidelines for people who belong in the psychiatric wards. I'll repeat that. People who belong in psychiatric wards are writing guidelines for people who belong in the psychiatric wards. In his evidence this week in court, Mr. Olsen told the tribunal that while the first sentence of the tweet was a specific comment to the Daily Mail story on Teddy Cook, his second sentence was intended more broadly to make a political comment about the ideology, bias present among those in positions of power and influence when it comes to writing gender policy around the world. So he was talking when he said about a person doing this. This woman, yes, she's female. He was talking about Teddy Cook, who masquerades as a male, but as he points out, this woman, yes, she's female, but he masquerades as male. As further why he chose to post on this matter, Mr. Olsen explained, because the World Health Organization has global influence and we should have evidence-based care. Under cross-examination, Chris Olsen responded, "My goal is not to provoke outrage. My goal is simply to try to educate people and encourage discussion. I want everyone to think for themselves." That's a noble cause, is it not? Freedom of communication is protected as an implied right under the Australian Constitution. In accordance with Australia's Online Safety Act 2021, the E-Safety Commissioner seeks to prove that Chris Olsen's post constitutes cyber abuse, material directed at an Australian adult, including that it was likely that the material was intended to have an effect of causing serious harm. Serious harm to what would cause the serious harm according to this idiot? Well, because he called her a woman. He called her a woman. It would cause serious harm to this person because this person is dressed as a man. Now, the defence called an expert witness, a consultant medical psychiatrist, a Dr. Jill Redden. She testified that using biologically accurate pronouns for someone identifying as transgender could cause irritation and upset, but it's not likely to cross the statutory threshold to constitute serious harm. When asked how long one might expect to experience serious psychological symptoms of that severity, Dr. Redden answered, several months. Mr. Elton's counsel pointed out that Teddy Cook, the woman who's claiming to be a man, had professed on Instagram's post to be living my best life, just 9 days after the ex-post at the centre of this case was published. So the person is not suffering any harm. She said, she's living the best life. 9 days after the comment was made. No effect. So this court case is nonsense from the beginning. Robert Clark, Director of Advocacy of the ADF International. Now, I have to disclose I am a member of the ADF International, the British branch, were backing Alston's legal defence. Now, so Robert Clark, the director, said, the decision of the Australian authorities to prevent Australian citizens from hearing and evaluating information about gender ideology in a patronising front is an patronising affront to the principles of democracy. Well said. The confidence of the Australian Safety Commissioner to censor citizens of Canada on an American platform shows the truly global nature of free speech crisis. He's the Australian minister, and he's trying to censor a post that was put in America by a Canadian. Speaking up for free speech is critical to our juncture, and we're proud to be backing Billboard Chris as he does just that. Okay, your comments. Over to you for your comments. I would love to hear your comments. Please give them. Don't forget the like button so I can tell you like me, because I know you like me really. So do that, and don't forget, do subscribe. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe. It does help me to continue researching these articles, these posts. They're important pieces of information that what's going in the world. It's not just in Britain we're being censored and free speech is being censored and people are being arrested for silent prayer on the streets and for posts and knocks on the door by police because you've said something which is not a crime, but it might upset someone. This has got to stop. It's in America, it's in Canada, it's in Australia, we see. Where will it stop? Where will it stop? Well, it won't if you don't know about it. And you won't, and it won't if we're not all on the same hymn sheet. So don't forget to subscribe. The more subscriptions I get, the more influence I will get, and I will speak up for you, and I will speak on your behalf, but only when you ask me to do so. So subscribe. And so be safe, be good, and goodbye from DJ. Bye.